right, Sean Zattel with former world champion Chris Algeri and the host of Inside Boxing Live, my man Danny Canovio. Chris, man, everybody's gonna ask you about Pacquiao and Barrios. Let me start with a different fight real quick. Haney and Norman.
Okay.
Who do you favor in that fight? Right? I know we got months out. You got tape to study. You got to study body language and everything in the next several months. But what do you think?
I think it's easier to say momentum-wise. Yeah, Brian Norman. You know, he's looking like a bad MFer on at welterweight. But Devin Haney, man, I think people really are forgetting how good of a tactician he is and how smart he is in the ring. He's got a fantastic jab. He's long. He's defensively very sound, obviously. You know, he's getting a lot of heat because of the Ramirez fight, and then prior to that was the Ryan Garcia fight. But listen, he's still a tactician, and I think that's why Team Haney is moving in this direction and making this fight, because when you look at Brian Norman, we're really basing everything off his last three fights. And he fought three guys that were there. They were there to be hit. You know, the Santillan fight, he wasn't supposed to win that fight, but Santillan, dude, he's in front of you. He's not a big puncher either. Brian apparently turned out to be a puncher. He looked phenomenal in that fight. Really put the brakes to Santillan that night. Next fight is I forgot the guy's name.
Derek Cuevas.
Cuevas, right? I mean,
another guy who wants to fight.
Another guy's gonna be right there, but also wasn't gonna put up much resistance. And then you had the Jin Sasaki, who I called this fight for too. And yeah, listen, he didn't stop the 40. You got to think about that. Moves up to 47. Wasn't a real 47-pounder, but also just stands in front of you and bangs. So he was tailor-made for Brian Norman to do what he did. Well, maybe not. Tailor-made to get knocked out, but not knocked out in that way. I mean, that was brutal. Knockout of the year for sure. But yeah, no. So you got three guys who stood in front of him, and banged with him, and Norman apparently has big power and was able to finish him. That's not going to be Devin Haney. He's not going to stand in front of him and bang. So that fight for me is whoever can get the other guy to fight their fight, dance their dance. That's who's going to win that night. I could see Devin going out there and boxing his shoes off. I could see Brian Norman going out there and knocking him out. It's that kind of fight. It's a really good matchup, and I tip my hat to both guys. Both guys taking that kind of risk, putting their O's on the line, doing it in their primes. There's a lot on the line for that fight, and both guys are taking chances.
Is Shakur's fight maybe foreshadowing? Like, Haney's in kind of a similar position to Shakur. People are questioning if you're exciting and questioning how you're going to deal with a guy with. Well, Zepeda's not a puncher like Norman, but you know, right. Could be the toughest fight of your career, and then it actually brought the best out of Shakur.
Yeah, so, 100%. Right. I mean, I always thought that Zepeda was tailor-made for Shakur and his style, being defensive and just being size-wise. I've been around both these guys. Shakur's just a much bigger guy. People forget Shakur's not a small 35-pounder. He's not a puncher, but he's strong. And I think we saw that in that fight. Zepeda really had no power in those hands to really do any damage beyond just being able to score points. But yeah, it's an interesting thought about Devin Haney, where it's kind of like, all right, man, you had the fight with Ryan, and Ryan was obviously on PEDs that night. Still was a good fight, which people forget because we live in a TikTok world. You only see clips of him getting knocked down, but that fight was actually pretty close. Devin won a lot of those rounds. And then you get the Ramirez fight, and you're like, ugh. But also, all right, you need to get back. You've been a year out of the ring. You fought a guy who's also a dangerous puncher in Ramirez, so we can kind of give him a pass on that one. But now it's should I get off the pot, and Brian Norman's that.
We see from Norman, you know, just sharing notes with you. I was surprised at his punch selection and really good timing, and just a guy that I see growing each fight. Again, it's against aggressive fighters, not against guys where he has to cut off the ring. But what do you think of Norman's skill set? Because you did start by saying you got to favor him right now with the momentum. Yep. How does he beat Devin Haney if he does win this fight? Well,
I think you said it perfectly. It's timing, because I don't think he's going to match Devin for hand speed, and also Brian's going to be at a disadvantage in length and reach, so he's going to have to get past that. We got a guy who's faster and longer. It makes it very difficult to get on the inside, but timing beats speed. And Brian Norman has shown to have tremendous timing, especially with his finishing shots. You see him, like, he gets these highlight reel knockouts because he's literally setting them up and timing these guys. Yeah, they're punching with him, but listen, he lands them perfectly and puts these guys away in deadly fashion. So for him, you're gonna have to pin down Haney. Although I don't think Haney's a runner like he was in the Ramirez fight. We've never seen him do that before. I don't suspect he's going to do that with Norman either. But he's going to have to get him to stand still enough and try to trade and try and punch with him and exchange power. But it's an interesting fight. But Norman has shown to have very, very good timing and his ability to cut off the ring and close the space. and dictate range, and he's going to need that for Haney.
Yeah, sounds like a good fight. You could be commentating on PPV.com as well as this weekend Pacquiao Barrios. But do you have to, if you're in Norman's position, usually when we think of cutting a distance, because like you said, Haney's got the speed and the length advantage, do you have to high guard it to cut distance, or are there other ways to do it?
Yeah. No, not
because I don't see him doing that.
No, I don't see that. I don't think he needs to. That might actually be a mistake,
right?
To try and high guard against a guy like Devin Haney, who does throw good combinations. He does have a long jab. He can shut you down. When guys fight or high guard.
No, hit them up first.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh, we're live.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you got a guy who's doing high guard and you keep touching that guard, it pins the hands at home. So that's a really dangerous thing to do. I think you gotta play with distance in and out and use some side to side head movement to make that guy miss and reach, get him off balance, boom, boom, and look for those counters, which I could see Brian being able to do, but it's going to be how well Devin can dictate the distance, because he does that very, very well. So even if you got a guy who's moving his head, you're just going to be short.
Well, they need you live, Chris. Hope to catch up with you before you're done. About 5 minutes on Pacquiao Barrios.
Okay, cool.
Thanks for your time, brother.